Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible. Good morning.
Good morning.
That's much better. I heard Bill was awesome last Sunday. Yeah, thank you so much, Bill, for filling in. Terry and I, we and our children went to Albuquerque, New Mexico for Terry's grandmother's 100th birthday party. And it was a blast. If you ever have a chance, you cannot miss a 100-year-old birthday party. And the woman to her left and to her right were 101. So it was just awesome. So anyway, it was good to be there, but good to be home. Hey Betsy, PJ, hi. Did that embarrass you? Can I tell a story in a minute about how we met without embarrassing you? Huh? Okay. We have last night, well, that's a long story. I had to go upstairs and work in the bathroom at like 9 o'clock because something was wrong. And I didn't know, but I had gotten a text, and I didn't see it until this morning from these people that said, what time is church and where is it? And I almost did, so they're here though. Anyway. We've been studying the life of David, and we're like, this is the third week. And I was getting ready for the whole Goliath thing, and I was just studying and praying and researching, and I realized I missed something really important, like way back there. And so I'm going to go backwards today and grab something that I missed, and I don't know how I missed it, but so that's kind of what we're going to do. All right, if I ask you to take a piece of paper and draw a line down the middle of it, and on the left-hand side, just start writing down blessings that you wish you had. Blessings that you desire, everything. Just write them all down on the left side, and then on the right side, write the highest blessing of all, which is an intimate relationship with the Father. Okay, you got it? So you don't have to do it. Just imagine that, though. So you're writing down all the things on the left. Good marriage, good home, good this, good kids, kids that obey. No, I'm playing. 401k, a good job, blah, blah, blah. You just, whatever yours are on the left, and on the right, an intimate relationship with God. So if you were to write those two things down, what happens is, here comes the rub, is that some of us think that because we dabble on the right, that we're entitled to those on the left. We think that, well, because I give some lip service and I go to church and I'm dabbling on the right, that if I'm good, then I get all the things on the left that I want. This church probably didn't do that, but somehow I caught a little bit of that. Not totally, but I caught some of that. That if I'm good enough, and if I have a quiet time and read my Bible and jump through the little hoops and cross all my I's and dot my T's, that somehow God is like obligated to me in one way or another to give me some stuff from the left. Wrong. And this is going to be a little difficult for some of us today. But stay with me, okay? Because it's going to make sense in the end. There are some who even feel entitled to the blessings on the left. There's this sense of entitlement. But here's the deal. The left is lesser. The blessings on the left, as awesome as they are, is lesser than the thing on the right. In my mind, this is silly, but in my mind and on my piece of paper, I made my line down the middle go this way. You know, that the less than, greater than sign. So my line is like less than is on the right and the greater than on the right. Less than on the left, greater on the right. Blessings are good. There's nothing wrong with them, okay? So don't hear that. Well, you mean you're saying that my 401k and a good marriage? No, I'm not. I'm just saying God's chief concern is my intimacy with Him. Okay, now this is going to sound, this will whack you on the side of the head. God's main concern is the right side. He's not so concerned about my left. God does not exist to make me happy. The Western church somehow has got this thing like, I'm supposed to be happy. Listen, here's breaking news. God is not really concerned with your happiness. He's not. He's more concerned with your relationship with Him and your intimacy. And here's the deal. And to get that, to get you to the right, to get me to the right, sometimes I have to be stripped from the left. And that's what we're going to kind of look at today, okay? Oh, I can't even feel good. Yeah, sorry. All right. No. Take your Bible, and this is going to be weird because you're going to think, wow, where's David in this? Turn to the book of Ruth, all right? Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth. 7th book of the Bible, all right? Ruth chapter 1. And stay with. I'm going to try to go slow, but at the same time, just cover it all. And I'm going to go slow, but be quick at the same time. Are you there? Ruth chapter 1. In the days when the judges ruled, there was a famine in the land, and a man from Bethlehem in Judah, together with his wife and 2 sons, went to live for a while in the country of Moab. Okay? So here it is. Here's this woman named Naomi. She's got a great husband. She's got these 2 fine sons, and they're full of hope when they're having to leave because there's a famine, but they're kind of skipping along the way. They're going to Moab, and this economic downturn, the little financial difficulty in the country, it's just going to be over soon. Okay? And so they leave with hope. And verse 2, the man's name was Elimelech, his wife's name Naomi, and the name of his 2 sons were Mahlon and Kilion. They were Ephrathites from Bethlehem, Judah. And they went to Moab and lived there. Okay? So everything's hunky-dory. Life is just, I mean, it's Ward and June Cleaver. It's that whole ideal thing. And just, there's a little shake-up financially, and so they're going to go live there a while till it rains, and then they get to come home. She's happy. Things are going well. Life is awesome. And see, if you and I had the choice, this is where we would stay. We would keep this happiness that we found. I want my life to be verses 1 and 2. Everything's awesome. I can get my arms around it. There's a plan. Everything's awesome. I just want to stay in verses 1 and 2. Our desire for happiness is not entirely wrong. It's just naive. Here's the rub. See, verse 1 and 2 people rarely look for joy. Happy people rarely seek joy because I just want to stay happy. If you ask parents today, what do you want for your kids? This is frightening. The majority of those that answered that question said, I just want my kids to be happy. Really? Okay, I won't go there. All right. And so happy people rarely look for joy. They're content with where they are. They're content with what they have. And the central concern is just to keep that. However, like I said earlier, God is not entirely concerned with my happiness. In His severe mercy, sometimes He takes away the good to create an appetite for the best. You hear me? And so pain enters and brokenness. We come to this place of brokenness because it's there that God, it's out of that place that we desire to move to the right side. An intimacy with God. When all of those things that made us happy are gone and we're left with nothing, it's at that place when God can finally get us to where, okay, happiness, that's not the goal. The goal is an intimate relationship with God. See, here's the deal. Only broken people truly worship. Only broken people really, truly worship. Unbroken people, those of us happy, enjoying our blessings, We enjoy our blessings more than the one who gave the blessings. And when that happens, it's almost like we're talking to a clerk at the store to say thanks. You know, it's like, thanks, have a nice day. Thank you, God, have a nice day. So that has to be stripped away. Happiness has to be stripped away, maybe even forcibly, before joy can come. Okay. So, now Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died. Whoops. They left happy, things are hunky-dory. Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left with her 2 sons. They married Moabite women, one named Orpah and the other Ruth. After they had lived there about 10 years, both Mahlon and Chilion also died. And Naomi was left without her 2 sons and her husband. In other words, her hope for anything financial, all of a sudden now both of her legs are out from under her financially, in every part of her life. When she heard in Moab that the Lord had come to the aid of His... Well, I'm jumping ahead of myself. Okay, so here we are with these shattered hopes and dreams and plans and a future gone. But it's here where this brokenness, shattered dreams open the door from the left to the right. Opens the door to better ones, to the best one. Dreams that we don't value until these are gone. See, our pain always has a purpose. Always has a purpose. And it leads to an appetite to loving God above all else. Trusting Him no matter what happens. So some of you are going, oh, I didn't sign up for that. Literally today, some of us are like hanging in the balance here because, I thought God was good all the time, and we sing that, right? God is good all the time, but see, if we told the truth today, if you really were honest with yourself, and I said, how many of you came in here today who are dying inside? My guess is more than half, if not 3/4, it may be even more than that, would go, honestly? Yeah. But we don't want, see, we're caught in the middle there, because we don't want to go, you know what, nobody would want me in their small group if I told them what's going on, so I'm just going to go, how you doing? Fine. Everything's hunky-dory. We're good. Yeah, everything's good. Oh, praise the Lord. God's good. We just got this blah. Praise the Lord. Yeah, but we're faking. We're dying. And yet that's the place where if we embrace that, if we come to the place where we can embrace our pain and embrace our hope and embrace the stuff that's shattered in our lives, all of a sudden things change. That's the tipping point. And we become a candidate for God to go, now I got you where I want you. And we're going to see what happens here, okay? This story, I'm going to just quickly tell you 5 things you're going to hear. Okay, you don't have to jot them down, but 5 things you're going to hear as we unpack this. Okay, the first one is our fondest dreams for life. The ones that we believe are necessary for our happiness must be fully abandoned if we are going to know God well. But we cannot abandon them without help. The help we need is suffering and the pain of seeing and at least a few of them shattered. Brokenness is necessary for spiritual growth. Well, I thought if I read my Bible I would grow. I don't want the brokenness thing. Brokenness is necessary for spiritual growth. Number 2, the person we were before the pain cannot survive. Something wonderful survives everything terrible. Something wonderful survives everything terrible. And it surfaces most clearly when we hurt the most. Thirdly, whether we believe that God caused the trial, as we're going to find out Naomi did. Naomi thought God caused it. Whether we believe that God caused it or whether we believe God allowed it, one thing is clear. And this is where some of us trip up. He could have prevented it. God, why didn't you prevent that from happening? You could have. You know all. You can do all. Why didn't you? And I'll just be honest, Terry and I asked that question. We've had deep, deep pain in our life. We're going, God, I don't get this. Why didn't you keep that? You could have prevented this. And that creates a tension. It's almost like a battle with God. The fourth thing we're going to hear is only brokenness develops our capacity for recognizing and enjoying true life. And fifth, the past is irreparable, but the future is always available. No matter what happens in life, that the best of all dreams, not the one on the left, but the one on the right, is always available. And if we pursue it, that's what brings about joy. Okay, so verse 6. When she heard in Moab that the Lord had come to the aid of His people by providing food, Naomi and her daughters-in-law prepared to return home. With her 2 daughters-in-law, she left the place where she had been living and set out on the road that would take them back to the land of Judah. Then Naomi, so now they're on the road, they're on their way there, and one day she says to them, go back, each of you, to your mother's home. So they're somewhere between Moab and Judah, and Naomi goes, you know what? You don't have to go supper with me. Go home and be happy. See, she's still in this happy, there's this struggle going on. She hadn't figured out yet the difference, the happiness thing. And so she's going, go home and be happy. May the Lord show kindness to you if you've shown to your dead and to me. May the Lord grant that each of you will find rest in the home of another husband. And then she kissed them, and they wept aloud and said to her, we will go back with you to your people. But Naomi said, no, return home, my daughters. Why would you come with me? Am I going to have any more sons who could become your husbands? Return home, my daughters. I am too old to have another husband. Okay, remember, so the law there was that the wife, the widow would marry another son, and so she's saying, I can't even have kids anymore. So even if I could, you don't want to hang around that long to wait for one of my boys to grow up and marry him. Even if I thought there was still hope for me, even if I had a husband tonight and then gave birth to sons, would you wait until they grew up? Would you remain unmarried for them? No, my daughters, it is more bitter for me than for you, because the Lord's hand has gone out against me. You hear her there? I mean, she's spilling it. She's embracing that pain. The Lord's hand has gone out against me. At this they wept again, and then Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye, but Ruth clung to her. Look, said Naomi, your sister-in-law is going. You go ahead and go with her. And Ruth replied, this is maybe one of the most gorgeous passages in the Bible. Who had this read at their wedding? Okay, Kelly, you and me. This is so gorgeous. Listen, don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go. And where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord deal with me, be it ever so severely, if anything but death separates you and me. Wow! So that's what the daughter-in-law is saying to her mother-in-law. When Naomi realized that Ruth was determined to go with her, she stopped urging her. So the two women went on until they came to Bethlehem. When they arrived, the whole town was stirred because of them. And the women exclaimed, Is it Naomi? Only as women can do. Is that Naomi? Okay, I better not go there. I could make a beauty shop joke, but I won't. All right. Is that Naomi? Don't call me Naomi, she told them. Call me Mara. Naomi means pleased. Don't call me pleased anymore. I'm not pleased. Mara means bitter. Remember as the children of Israel were leaving Egypt along the Exodus trail, they came to that place and they hadn't had water for days. And finally they see it and they run as hard as, this millions of people run, stick their heads down in the water, and it's bitter. Remember that? And they named that place Mara. Bitterness. And so she's saying, don't call me pleased anymore. Call me bitter. Call me a bitter old woman. By the way, there's a beautiful, back in that Exodus thing, while I'm on that little rabbit, there's a beautiful thing there. Remember, and God said to Moses, cut down a tree and throw it in the water. Remember, and the water became sweet. It's one of the first pictures, the shadow of the cross along the Exodus trail, when a tree turned bitterness to sweetness. Isn't that awesome? And then they went like a day's journey and came to a place called Elim, and there were 12 springs of water, and it's just, what a great story. Okay, so I'm miserable. I went away full, but the Lord has brought me back empty. The Almighty has brought misfortune on me. I mean, she's embracing the pain. She's not going, I'm fine, everything's fine. Naomi's unlikely journey to joy has begun. Okay, these couple of sentences show there's a corner being turned. Happiness has been taken away, replaced by despair, and God is working. God is working when we see nothing but darkness. Listen, if you see nothing but darkness, you got to know God is moving. God is moving. Okay, we confuse the left side of the paper with the movement of God. Darkness, God is doing something, and it's way, way, way down deep. He is moving with this purpose through our brokenness and our pain to bring us to this place of unimaginable joy. And then from this point on, there's some little tiny phrases that it's like, if you weren't here a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago I think, we talked about this thread of God. And here come some threads, okay? When I asked Betsy if it would be okay, I want to show you this. This is an awesome thread. I went to Hardin-Simmons University. It's a Baptist school in Abilene, Texas. And I went to Baylor my freshman year and then transferred to Hardin-Simmons. And I had a preaching professor named Dr. Jim Flaming. I loved this man. He pastored First Baptist Church, Abilene. Tall, handsome. When he spoke, it was your typical First Baptist pastor. No, I mean, it was like God, it was amazing. And I got to sit under him. He was my preaching professor. And some of you are going, you should have sat longer. So anyway, so Dr. Flaming, okay, so fast forward 20 some odd years, and we've moved to Nashville. So we came here for the music business, and songwriters get paid quarterly. And as our family grew, it got harder to make a royalty check stretch a whole quarter. So I started odd jobbing and started painting because it was a low overhead, at least I thought, and to just kind of work my own hours or whatever. So anyway, I get this call, and I have no idea where this lady got my name, but I get a call from a lady named Betsy Heimerman. Could you come and paint a bedroom and a bathroom? And I go, sure. So I show up, and it's over in Temple Hills, and I go in, and it's the first day, and this is horrible. I don't mean to be gross, but I'm in the half bath, and I'm standing up in the half bath, and the whole bathroom is papered with snapshots. I mean, it's like there are hundreds of snapshots all over the wall. And I'm looking, I go, I know that guy looks just like Jim Flaming. How weird is that? Can't be. I mean, I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. That can't be Jim Flaming. So I finish, wash my hands, I go back and I say, Betsy, and this is our first day. Betsy, it's funny, I was looking at this picture and it looks just like Dr. Flaming. And she goes, that's who it is. That was my father-in-law. I was married to his son before my husband died. And God, here's this thread, and all of a sudden, this little thread wraps up and begins this friendship with Betsy and PJ, who is now her husband, PJ Heimerman. And so we have seen some life together, and our children were friends and went to the same school, and see Betsy PJ at the church we used to go to, and PJ and Betsy are in this incredible ministry called Narrowgate, where young men go, and it's kind of a wilderness thing to help them figure some things out. And PJ and Betsy are heavily involved in it. Anyway, there's this really, isn't that awesome? This threat. Listen, that's what's going on right here. Watch it. It's God going, watch this. Watch this. Watch what I'm going to do. Okay? So there's some phrases here I want to show you. All right? Chapter 1, verse 22. And so Naomi returned from Moab, accompanied by Ruth the Moabitess, her daughter-in-law, arriving in Bethlehem as the barley harvest was beginning. That's important. Can you hear it? Can you hear the hope? The barley harvest was beginning. The darkest night precedes the brightest morning. I'm telling you that truth to be true. The darkest night in your life precedes the brightest morning. That's how God works. Okay. So here's the other thing that means. The barley harvest. Okay, there's been this famine, and the harvest is coming in. How do you think the people are reacting? Woo! I used to could whistle. I used to have buck teeth really badly. I mean, I could eat an apple through a picket fence kind of thing. And I had braces, and I had the headgear, that back in the 60s and 70s. Listen to me. You think you got it bad, middle schooler? Okay? In middle school kids, bless your heart. Middle school is bad. It's just, pimples starting to come, and, the guys, it's like, I wish I had one facial hair, and it's just so I'm in middle school as bad as it is, and now I got buck teeth, braces, and a headgear that I have to wear 24 hours a day. They were that bad, and so I have to go to middle school with my dumb headgear on. Hey, can you tune us into KERB and all this stupid stuff? Anyway, oh man, do I sound scarred? I think I am. Okay. So here are these people. I mean, that was because I can't whistle now. I mean, I used to could whistle. I mean, they're celebrating. The famine is over. The harvest is coming in. If you've never been around farmers and harvest time is unbelievable. They all get together. They celebrate and party. It's like, yeah, that's what's going on. And here's this woman who's lost her husband and her sons. And the barley harvest had started. I mean, the parties are going, and it just makes her pain even deeper. Okay? So, now Naomi had a relative. Hear that word. Listen, you got to hear these little bitty words. Now, almost like what's this? Now, Naomi had a relative on her husband's side from the clan of Elimelech. Wow! Let me tell you. Okay, here's what's going on. All right? Remember what I said? The women were supposed to marry one of the sons so that the lineage could continue and the blessings and all of that stuff. But if there's nobody there, then it stops, right? Now, you hear it? Now, Naomi had a relative on her husband's side. Whoop, that might be good. Husband's side, relative. From the clan of Elimelech, a man of standing whose name was Boaz. And Ruth, the Moabitess, said to Naomi. Okay, now those two don't go together. Okay, verse 1 is like just this. Okay, tuck this one away. Hang on to this one. Remember this. Put a parenthesis. I'm going to come back to this one. Okay? So just remember that. Now there's this guy who on the husband's side. Okay, stop. All right? Just remember. Now pretend that that's there and we're just starting. Don't put verse 1 and 2 together. Ruth the Moabitess said to Naomi, "Let me go to the fields and pick up the leftover grain behind anyone whose eyes I find favor." I mean, they're starving. And she's going, I got to do something. Let me just go pick up grain behind the ones who are picking up grain. It's like people pick grain, and then there are these women that come along behind them, and Ruth is saying, let me fall in line to that, the third one. Just let me do that. Now, where do you suppose she's going to end up? Any guesses, Gary? Okay. Y'all are, yeah. Okay.
Boaz.
There you go. Thanks. Naomi said to her, "Go ahead, my daughter." It's got to be Eric Crafton. "Go ahead, my daughter." And so she went out and began to glean in the fields behind the harvesters. Here's a phrase. As it turns out. Really, you think? As it turns out, what, G? As it turns out, she found herself working in a field belonging to Boaz, who was from the clan of Elimelech. Just then Boaz arrives from Bethlehem and greets the harvesters. Listen how he talks to his hired hands. This is awesome. He arrives from Bethlehem and greets the harvesters. "The Lord be with you." "The Lord bless you," they call back. And Boaz asked the foreman of his harvesters, "Oh, hey, who's the young lady?" Listen, this is awesome. There's a love story here, okay? Listen, watch this. Watch what God's doing. It's like, Betsy, this is the part I didn't want to embarrass you. It's like Betsy losing a husband. And the pain and the darkest night. And she's sitting back there with PJ, this awesome, awesome man of God. And they got these incredible kids and this ministry that they're doing. Wow. Okay, so that's a love story. Yeah.
Well, what the cool thing is that God had us in church together 17 years before we ever, if all the thread.
Wow. Did y'all hear that? The cool thing was that God had them in church together 17 years earlier. Wow. Okay. Listen, don't you want to live that way? Yes. That's the kind of way I want to live. I got to live that way. Okay. All right. So he says, who's the young lady? The foreman replied, "Oh, she's the Moabitess who came back from Moab with Naomi. She said, let me glean and gather the sheaves behind the harvesters." She went to the field and she has worked steadily from morning until now, except for a short rest in the shelter. Boy, I wish we had time. I can't do this now, but teenage girls, I could preach right here to you. Oh, good grief. There's so much here about what a woman, listen, you know, I mean, okay, she was pretty good looking, because he goes, and who's the lady? Who's the woman? But then the real description comes. Do I dare go there? Oh, give me 10 seconds. You spend so much time on your outer. And you know what? That's the kind of the girl the boys want. That's the kind of girl the boys want to date. But now you're fixing to see the kind they want to marry. Okay. I'll stay off of that one. Bill, let's trade one day. I'll take youth, you take... All right. Get ready, girls. Okay. And so he's telling her what... she's worked all day. Okay, verse 8. So Boaz says to Ruth, "My daughter, listen to me. Don't go and glean in another field, and don't go away from here. Oh, stay here with my servant girls. Watch the field where the men are harvesting, and follow along after the girls. I have told the men not to touch you." Wow. "And whenever you are thirsty, you go get a drink from the water jars the men have filled." Can you hear him taking care of her? Listen, you're fixing to see one of the most gorgeous pictures of Jesus you've ever seen. It's already starting, okay? At this, she bowed with her face to the ground. She exclaimed, "Why have I found such favor in your eyes that you notice me a foreigner?" And Boaz replied, "I've been told all about what you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband." Wow. Hear her reputation, the reputation of her character. Guys, boys, okay, it's not just the, wow, who's the girl? It's, okay, all right. "And how you left your father and your mother and your homeland, and you came to live with a people you did not know before. May the Lord repay you for what you have done. May you richly be rewarded by the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge. And she says, may I continue to find favor in your eyes, my Lord. You've given me comfort and spoken kindly to me, though I don't have the standing of one of your servant girls. At mealtime, Boaz says, come over here, have some bread, dip it in the wine vinegar. I mean, she's on the silk stocking side now. Okay. When she sat down with the harvesters, he offered her some roasted grain. She ate all she wanted and had some left over. And as she got up to glean, Boaz gave orders to his men. Even if she gathers among the sheaves, don't embarrass her. Rather, pull out some stalks for her from the bundles, from the good stuff, and leave them for her to pick up, and don't rebuke her. Wow! So Ruth gleaned in the field until evening, and then she threshed the barley she gathered, and it amounted to about an ephah. She carried it back to town, and her mother-in-law saw how much she had gathered, and Ruth also brought out and gave her what she had left over that when she had eaten lunch. And then Ruth told her mother-in-law about, her mother-in-law asked, where did you glean today? Where did you work? Blessed be the man who took notice of you. And then Ruth told her mother-in-law about the one at whose place she had been working. The name of our work today is Boaz. You ever heard of Boaz? See, she still doesn't know. She doesn't know what we know. All she knows is this nice guy named Boaz. The Lord bless him, Naomi said to her daughter-in-law. He has not stopped showing kindness. Here's another picture of Jesus. He has not stopped showing kindness to the living and the dead. She's talking about her husband and sons. And she added, Boaz? I remember now. He's a relative. He's a relative of mine. He is one of our kinsman redeemers. The word is goel, G-O-E-L, a kinsman redeemer. Listen, here comes this picture of your kinsman redeemer. And then Ruth the Moabitess said, he even said to me, I mean, can you see them? Ruth and Naomi's like, they're just going at it. Tell me about your day. Oh, this happened. Really?